Hello and welcome to ComSpark Magazine interview series. My name's Audra Petrozello with Ahead, and we have partnered with ComSpark Magazine in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Ron Frissora, the CIO of MI Homes. So Ron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So really the goal of our conversation is just to get to know you a lot better, a little bit more about your company, but really more so around what inspires you, how you've got where you've gotten, things like that, just to benefit the tech community here locally. So if it's okay with you, I'll just jump right in.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Wonderful. So maybe just start with, a little more about yourself, your name, the organization you work at, your responsibilities there, things like that.
Yeah, so I'm Ron Frissora. I'm the Vice President and Chief Information Officer for MI Homes, and I've been with MI Homes for 27 years now and been in the CIO role for roughly 22. And I'm a native New Yorker, and so I grew up just north of New York City and have been in Columbus for many years now, so I consider this to be home now. I do miss my family and people that I grew up with in New York, but don't miss the hustle and bustle of New York, and have found a really wonderful place here in Columbus. So I've been with MI Homes the entire time that I've lived in Columbus. I started as a business analyst working for our mortgage company, putting in a new mortgage system for them, and gradually worked my way up into management and ultimately into the CIO role. And back when I was first starting 27 years ago, technology was not a very big part of the organization. And so I was the fifth ever IT employee at MI Homes, and gradually just built the organization up from there. And it's been a great company, and I really have enjoyed my time spent here.
Wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit more about, kind of you personally and your career path? What brought you to technology?
Completely by accident. So I went to St. Lawrence University in upstate New York, which is a small liberal arts school, and graduated with a math and economics major, and had an opportunity to play a little more football. I was a place kicker in college, and so I decided to go for a fifth year and get my MBA. And I went to Clarkson University, also in upstate New York, and got my MBA. And it was in 1991 when I graduated, and we were in the middle of a recession, and I was working for my dad in a diner and looking for jobs, constantly taking a train down to New York City for job opportunities. And my brother called me one day. He worked at IBM, and he said, they have a PC technician job open, $10 an hour, no benefits. You interested? And I said, absolutely. My next question was, what does a PC technician do? I had no idea. So I landed that role, and it's been a great opportunity. From there, I worked with IBM for 2 years, and then I went to MCI as a consultant. Back in the day, they used to use an operating system called OS2, and MCI was the largest OS2 shop in the United States. And so I put networks in for MCI throughout the country, and then decided to settle down in Columbus shortly thereafter. And as I indicated earlier, I've been with MI Homes ever since then.
Awesome. If you could tell us a little bit more about your company. I think we're all familiar with MI Homes, at least probably most of us, but maybe some of the challenges that you're seeing in the industry would be really helpful.
Sure. So for those that don't know MI, we are actually building 15 different markets, and we are, according to 2020 stats, we are the 13th largest builder in the United States. And so, pretty big organization, a little bit over $3 billion, and hopefully a little more than that this year, but doing, big company, doing well throughout the US. And I would say some of the challenges that we face today are primarily in the supply chain. Demand is very high right now, and so we're seeing a lot of demand for our product, but we've had to intentionally slow sales down a bit just because we can't meet our customers' needs in the timeframes that they really want us to build homes. So things like brick and windows and Siding in some places are just very difficult to get. And so in order for us to build a quality home for a customer, we've had to kind of slow things down because we just can't build them at the time frame and in the time frames that we want to and what our customers are expecting. So supply chain is absolutely one of them. High cost is another one. The prices of material and labor have gone up so significantly that we've had to raise our prices on our homes, which is making homes, obviously less affordable. Interest rates, thankfully, are pretty low, so the affordability factor stays up there. But we are struggling just to keep track of all the costs and the risk associated with, very fast increases in our costs throughout the company. And land costs are very, very significant now, both at the cost from a cost standpoint and also the ability to get land procured and developed in a time frame that is acceptable. We've churned through so much land this year, just in the high pace of sales that we've had, that it's hard for us to replenish it fast enough to keep up with the demand. And so while the industry today is wonderful and great, we are dealing with a lot of challenges. And I'll also offer that, people across the nation in probably every industry is a challenge. We're faced with that as well. The demand is so high that, people are jumping to other companies to get more money. So having to stay in front of that and on top of that is a constant challenge that we're facing throughout the organization.
Yeah, it's interesting. I read an article this weekend that was titled "The Great Resignation," right? And it's I think it was like 7% of employees resigned, which was unprecedented in the history of the United States. So
we're seeing that a lot in our construction field. Construction managers that manage our subcontractors, and it's just constant. I mean, it's a big challenge, not only for us, but for everyone in the industry.
So I'm curious, in the technology space, are you seeing that the same or less or more than kind of the construction side?
I would say not significant turnover in the technology space. We've had a few people turnover this year, more in the neighborhood of the COVID, with COVID going on, and we do, allow people to work from home. We do want people to work in the office some days, and some of those challenges have led people to leave the company. But I would say our turnover rate in our department is probably one of the least in the organization.
I'm curious who or what inspired you to, get a career in technology?
As I indicated earlier, I think I got in here by accident and I have made the most of it. But I had a former CEO of our mortgage company who happened to also be a native New Yorker. He was from Brooklyn, and we kind of hit it off together when I first started at MI. He really inspired me to do a lot of things. One is just to learn the business, to be aggressive in trying to grow the business and grow our organization, and to inspire me to deliver great technology solutions to the organization. And he subsequently has retired, but he and I stay in touch with each other. And he's definitely one of my mentors that has helped me develop my career over the many years.
Great. So, Ron, I know you've been a leader at MI Homes for many years. What advice would you have for, young people looking to take their first leadership role?
I would say my advice is a few things. Number one is to be a hard worker. If you are showing off your willingness to work hard and do great things for the organization, people recognize that very quickly. So I would say hard work is probably the first thing. The second thing is to network with people. So a lot of young people that I see today do not network, and I think it's really important. So events like the ComSpark events that are coming up, attend those things, get to interface with many people, get to know them. And, sometimes buy them lunch or do something to pick their brains, understand what they did to get to where they are. And don't be afraid to speak up. So being a New Yorker, I tend to be a little more aggressive perhaps than some people, although my mentor that I mentioned earlier told me to be a little less aggressive. So, but I think if you don't make it known that you want to advance in your career and follow up on that and pursue that, then then you may not be given those opportunities. So so be aggressive, network, work hard, and I think you'll be all right.
So this might be a similar answer, but I'll ask it anyways, just in case it's different. If you could go back and give yourself advice at the age of 25, what would that be?
I think it would be to enjoy the ride. So I was a CIO at age 33, which was kind of young, and felt more that I had to prove myself more than anything else. I had a boss who told me day one when he took over for my former CFO, who was my prior boss, that I was too young for the job. And so I was in a constant mode of proving my capabilities. And I think along the way, I worked very hard and did a lot of good things for the organization. I don't know that I really took the time to really enjoy the ride and to appreciate all the wonderful things that my team was doing for the company. And I would say if I could go back, I would probably enjoy it a little bit more. I've had a great experience and wouldn't trade it for the world, but sometimes get hung up in the minutia. And I think celebrating the victories would be a little more important to me because we've had a lot of them.
That's great advice. Well, Ron, it was so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing, and look forward to meeting you in person someday.
Same here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.